Artificial intelligence is moving at this incredible pace, but it turns out not everyone is on that high-speed train. We're seeing this pretty significant but often overlooked generational divide in how AI is being adopted. And understanding this gap, well, it isn't just about technology. It's about business, it's about connection, and really, it's about the future of how we all interact with the world.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start by digging into the data that really shows this divide. Then, we'll uncover the surprising reason why it's happening. From there, we'll look at the hidden costs to businesses, lay out a really practical plan to fix it, and finally, we'll reframe this whole thing as a massive opportunity for anyone who's ready to lead the way. All right, first things first, let's get a really clear picture of what this generational divide actually looks like, because the numbers, well, they tell a pretty powerful story all on their own. Okay, now look at this chart. At first glance, you might think, hey, both bars are over 50%, but here's where it gets really interesting. It's what they represent. For users under 35, more than half are actively using AI. But for users over 45, it's the complete opposite. More than half haven't even tried it. That's not just a gap, it's a mirror image. It's a total flip from adoption to avoidance. And that's exactly why this is such a big deal. This isn't just some interesting statistic you'd see in a tech blog. This gap has real, tangible consequences for how AI is actually going to get woven into our society, and, maybe more importantly for many of you, for businesses trying to reach their entire customer base.
So, we've seen the gap. We know it's real. But the million-dollar question is, why? Why does it exist? And let me tell you, the answer is not nearly as simple as you might think.
It's so easy to fall back on that old stereotype, right? That older generations just don't like new tech. They reject it. But the actual research, it points to something completely different, something much more human. The reality is, the issue isn't rejection at all. It's a lack of confidence and simple familiarity with these new tools.
This quote from the study, man, it just nails it. It perfectly captures that feeling. It's not this active, I hate this new thing vibe. It's that moment of hesitation, that feeling of uncertainty. You can almost picture someone staring at a chatbot, then immediately searching for a customer service phone number. That's this quote in action.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. The core issue we're dealing with is simply unfamiliarity. The barrier isn't some deep-seated opposition to the idea of AI, it's a confidence gap. It comes from trying to use tools that just feel a little too complex, a little too unpredictable, or just not fully understood yet. Okay, so we get the what and the why. Now let's talk about the so what. Because this generational gap isn't just some abstract social trend. It has direct and often hidden costs that hit a business's bottom line. I want you to just pause and think about that for a second. What really happens when a huge chunk of your potential customers finds your main tools? Your website, your app, your chatbot, confusing or impersonal. What are the ripple effects? Well, the consequences are pretty severe. First, users just start to check out. They disengage, they might get halfway through a purchase and just give up. Then they'll start actively looking for a human to talk to, which, by the way, drives up your support costs. And maybe worst of all, over time, their trust in your brand just fades away.
So let's be absolutely crystal clear here. This is not some minor user experience hiccup you can just hand off to the design team and forget about. No way. This is a fundamental business problem that hits you where it hurts: your revenue, your customer trust, and your long-term brand loyalty.
All right, enough with the problem, let's talk solutions, because the great news is this is totally fixable. Let's pivot and look at 5 practical, actionable things any organization can start doing right now to bridge this confidence gap.
So here they are, 5 pretty simple steps. First, just use plain language. Ditch the confusing tech jargon. Second, always, and I mean always, offer a human backup. A clear, easy escape hatch to a real person. Third, give people simple tutorials. Even a single sentence explaining what the AI does can make a world of difference. Fourth, don't over-automate everything. Keep that human touch where it really counts. And finally, and this is so important, test your tools with people of all ages, not just the digital natives in your office.
And you know what the best part is? None of this means you have to throw out your AI strategy. These are small, thoughtful adjustments that can have a huge impact, dramatically improving confidence and comfort for a massive part of your audience.
Okay, for our final section, let's pull the lens back and reframe this whole conversation. Because tackling this gap isn't just about fixing a problem. It's about grabbing a huge strategic opportunity to lead.
Let's just zoom out for a moment and look at the big picture.
There is one massive, undeniable demographic trend that is shaping our future. The global population is aging. This isn't a fad, it's a fundamental, long-term societal shift.
So why does that matter so much for business? Well, a few big reasons. First, this demographic holds a ton of purchasing power. Second, they tend to have incredibly strong brand loyalty. If you can earn their trust by meeting them where they are, you build a valuable relationship that lasts.
So you see, the companies that get this right, the ones that are proactive and work to bridge this AI comfort gap now, they are setting themselves up for the future. They're going to stand out from the crowd as being more trustworthy, more user-friendly, and ultimately, more inclusive.
And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. It's a simple but powerful question to ask yourself. When you look at your own company's strategy and your tech, is your AI truly built for the future of your entire customer base, or is it really just built for the young? The answer to that question will define the leaders of tomorrow.